Hey guys, welcome back to The Sports Entertainer. In this episode, we look at all the breaking wrestling news and rumors you definitely don't want to miss, with some of our top stories of the day being Drew McIntyre has re-signed with WWE, Stone Cold Steve Austin returning for CM Punk match, Roman Reigns will never surpass The Rock's stardom, and so much more. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you never miss out on an episode. Matt Riddle confirms talks with TNA Wrestling. Now, a lot of wrestling fans have wondered what the next chapter of Matt Riddle's career in professional wrestling will be after getting unceremoniously released from WWE last September. And in a recent podcast with Sunday Night's Main Event, Riddle has confirmed talks with TNA Wrestling, with Riddle saying, quote, "When I got done with WWE, it's kind of stressful working on TV all the time, especially with the travel. The money is awesome, it's definitely worth it, and the experience. Now, I want to take a break from TV. After the 90 days and during the 90 days, I'm setting some dates up. I talked to some places, I've talked to TNA, I've worked with New Japan and MLW. You do film for TV, but it's not the same as Monday Night Raw, 3 hours live. Anything can happen, people are changing the script. You have 10 minutes for your match, now you have 5 minutes. It's extremely stressful, I like the pressure, but at the same time, I kind of wanted a little break from all that. I'm choosing places more pay-per-view based where I don't have to worry about going to commercial so we can get that free dose advertisement. Let us know if you guys feel Riddle would be a good addition to the TNA wrestling roster." Next up, Stone Cold Steve Austin returning for CM Punk match. Now, if there's one thing about WWE that's 100% true, it's that retirements are never real, and Stone Cold Steve Austin is a perfect example of that notion being true. No one expected to ever see Stone Cold back in a WWE ring, but we got just that at WrestleMania 38, where Steve Austin headlined Night 1 of WrestleMania against Kevin Owens, and it now looks as though it's a possibility that Stone Cold could return for another match, this time against CM Punk, which is a dream match of many fans. In a recent interview with ESPN, Stone Cold first made it clear that you can never say never in wrestling, quote, "I said I'd never get in a ring again unless all the stars aligned, and for some reason, somehow, they all did. And at the age of 57, I headlined the first night of WrestleMania. I never thought I'd do that. If you'd have told me that when I retired in 2003, I'd have said, you're crazy. So I'm not going to sit here and say no to anything because you never say never in this crazy business of sports entertainment." And Steve Austin was then asked about CM Punk, and clearly Austin isn't ruling out a potential match with Punk. Quote, "I like Punk, and I think Punk likes me, so as long as he can take a stone cold stunner, laughs. I consider him a great friend, a great guy, and a great wrestler who's had a great career. We'll see. I love the sports entertainment business more than anything I've ever done in my life, and you get a dose of it and you want more. And so here I am talking to you a couple years later about doing it again. And that's how addicting it is to me just to talk about it. And I get excited and I'll start talking too fast. But it's not gonna happen. But it could happen. Now, it seems like a lot of fans are pushing for a Stone Cold Steve Austin CM Punk match for WrestleMania 40 after this news of Stone Cold being open for another WWE match started going around, but that's probably not going to happen given Punk's injury. But would a Steve Austin CM Punk match and feud be of any interest to you, or should Stone Cold stay retired? Next up, good news for Drew McIntyre as he re-signs with WWE. Now, everyone's been wondering exactly what's going on with Drew McIntyre's contract status with the company. There had been no signs of him inking a new deal with WWE, up until now that is, and some felt as though Drew could have been leaving WWE after WrestleMania 40 despite his big push recently. However, a recent report from PW Insider has signaled that McIntyre could have quietly signed a new deal with WWE, which would make a lot of sense given his massive push these days. Quote, "Interesting to note that Drew McIntyre is being advertised for the May WWE event in Italy, a sign the two sides may have come to terms on an agreement beyond WrestleMania 40. The expectation, as PWInsider.com has previously reported, was that his deal expired shortly after Mania takes place this April. Now, if Drew has signed a new deal with WWE, then there's some good news for Drew McIntyre fans because there's honestly a solid chance he walks out of WrestleMania 40 the World Heavyweight Champion, providing of course Drew wins the upcoming Elimination Chamber match and gets the shot against Seth. But Drew's never had more momentum behind him in WWE, and McIntyre's truly doing an amazing job as the top heel on the Raw brand. Drew deserves that World Heavyweight title, no doubt about it. Next up, Roman Reigns will never surpass The Rock's stardom. Now, Roman Reigns and The Rock have seemingly joined forces together after Cody Rhodes threw a wrench in their WrestleMania 40 plans, and while Roman Reigns is one of the most dominant champions in WWE history and the biggest active star in the company, as long as The Rock's around, he can never truly be the tribal chief out of the two, as WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash believes Reigns will never reach The Rock's level of superstardom, with Kevin Nash revealing this on a recent episode of his Click This podcast regarding The Rock turning heel at WrestleMania 18 and how Reigns just isn't on Rock's star power level. Quote, "People forget how good of a effing heel Rock was. People also forget how quick in Toronto Rock made the adjustment on Hogan when the building made the adjustment with Hulk. I'm sorry, man, and I think Roman's been a great champion. I think he's a star. He's somebody that I would go pay and see, but not as much as Dwayne. He'll never be Dwayne." Now, honestly, it's hard to disagree with Kevin's take here, as The Rock is definitely the much bigger star out of the two, but that really isn't surprising, as Reigns hasn't even passed John Cena's level of stardom, so The Rock is much higher in the star power department for sure. Next up, Tony Khan addresses Vince McMahon's terrible allegations. Now, Tony Khan was recently interviewed by Amy Kaplan of Fansided MMA over the weekend, and the subject of Vince McMahon and his allegations basically came up, and Tony Khan was asked what All Elite Wrestling is doing to protect women in the wrestling industry, and here's what Tony had to say on the matter, quote, "Well, that's a great question. I can't comment on the terrible allegations against WWE right now. I think that's something that people are paying a lot of attention to right now, with good reason. For us, first and foremost, we're trying to create a safe locker room environment for everybody, women and men. We have a really, really good bond. I think we have a great locker room and everybody knows there's a support system there. There's a lot of channels. I think everybody feels very good about having a safe place and a safe workspace, and there's people you can talk to. There's people in the office, there's people on the wrestling side, and for us, I think that's the most important thing in any office, in any workplace. It's just having a lot of people that will listen and want to make the company a safe, good place to work." Next up, scrapped plans for major star to join WWE Hall of Fame. Now, Dave Bautista recently discussed the scrapped plans for him to enter the WWE Hall of Fame last year in 2023, and this comes after Bautista was supposed to go into the Hall of Fame back in 2020, but the worldwide health crisis canceled the plans. But last year, Bautista's busy schedule apparently prevented him from going into the Hall of Fame, with The Animal in a recent interview with Comic Book answering the question of which scenario he sees happening first. Him going into the WWE Hall of Fame or joining James Gunn's DC Cinematic Universe, quote, "I couldn't give an honest answer to that, and I'm only going to say this because we have had conversations over the years. It would be WWE Hall of Fame. I was supposed to go in last year, but I was on a film, and I just couldn't travel. I was on a film in South Africa, and logistically, we just couldn't make it happen." Now, hopefully Bautista goes into the Hall of Fame soon. He has earned his rightful place in the Hall of Fame for sure, and perhaps it could happen this year ahead of WrestleMania 40. Well guys, that's it for today's major wrestling news. Make sure you leave a like and comment, and also make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you'll never miss out on an episode. Finally, if you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter at TSE Wrestling, and we will see you guys in the next video.